Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Okay, today we're talking about a watch in 2021 spec that we first saw the Sky Dweller back in 2012, and this comprehensively loomed dial arrived in 2017. The addition of the Jubilee Bracelet was a new one for 2021. So this is reference 326934 white gold bezel 904L stainless steel case. It is 42 millimeters in diameter, 13.9 millimeters thick. Lug to lug, the case measures 50.6 millimeters, and end link to end link, the total distance across the wrist is 52.3 millimeters, and then it has a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The Jubilee bracelet, in its latest iteration, is ideal for this watch, as it has all solid links, which means it wears like a sports watch bracelet, robust, but it also vents better than the 3-link Oyster bracelet or even the Oyster Flex strap that arrived in 2020. Now you can see on my wrist 16 centimeters circumference. It's actually not overwhelming. The further I move from the camera, the better you can see just how big my hand and my arm actually are. So getting too close exaggerates the proportions of the watch relative to my arm. I think you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference, and at 13.9 millimeters with a sloped bezel, it might even slide underneath the cuff. Taking a look at the bracelet, the Jubilee is a perfect fit for this watch because I've believed since the 2012 original that the Sky Dweller looks like a really big Datejust, and now it has the Datejust's signature bracelet. We have a conforming end link that locks it to the case and creates an integrated look. Polished centers, satin finished outers. There's a little bit of taper. The outer faces are polished. Removable links are fixed by screws, and that on both sides. We have a fully polished clasp internal. You can see there's actually a beak and a hook. This is a lift lock system that latches closed. And then internally, though it's no longer the Oyster bracelet, we still do have the 5 millimeter in and out tool-free adjustment in the form of Easy Link, and then 3 divots drilled inside the clasp, so you can use your strap tool to change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside of the clasp. So 3 different ways to size: Easy Link, removable links, and those divots. Rolling back to the case, you can see it's all of high polish with lovely tapered lugs. You see that little bar? That means we're looking at a twin lock crown in steel. All Rolex crowns have a little symbolic code to let you know the material and the style. Now the watch, being 100 meters water resistant, is a real sports watch, and as you can see, it's also exceptionally well loomed. So automatic winding, mostly steel construction, well loomed, and 100 meters. It is a sports watch, but it's also a dress watch. We have that lovely silver satin dial. We have the fluted bezel. That is the part of the watch that is white gold, gray gold to be precise. It's an 18 karat white gold that's white all the way through and never needs to be plated. Rolex makes most of its own alloys, as it makes its white gold in its own foundry. It makes this gray gold material. It also makes its own steel, 904L. Rolex makes its cases, clasps, and bracelets, and 904L steel is more resistant to corrosion than 316, and it doesn't need to be rinsed after exposure to salt. Now on the dial, we have white gold hands, indices, and Rolex crown to resist oxidation and tarnish over time. Screw out the crown, and in its neutral position, without pulling it out at all, you can wind the watch. It is automatic winding. It has a 70-hour power reserve, but you can wind it manually. Now, if the bezel is justified all the way clockwise, you turn in the outer position and nothing happens. Now turn the ring command bezel one click. The bezel is part of the movement. Now you have the ability to move the date forward and backwards. Take a look at that little index. There's a hollow outboard of each hour and a little red index that indicates the current month. 12 hours, 12 months. That's how the annual calendar works. It only needs to be adjusted once a year during the jump from February to March. So now I can adjust it in this first position. Remember, that's first position on the bezel, second position on the crown, in either direction. And I can actually jump back and forth, both with the date and with the month, from January 1st back to the 31st of December. So that's how that works. Bidirectional quick set for the annual calendar, but the watch is still ticking. One more click counterclockwise. Now I can drive the local hour, and the local hour, note, doesn't stop the watch. It's not hacked yet. Doesn't affect the second time zone, doesn't affect the seconds or the minutes. It can drive the date forward, but cannot drive the date backwards. One more click counterclockwise. Now hacking seconds is enabled. The movement stops. I can synchronize to a reference time, and I am moving both my 24-hour second time zone, which is represented by this inner ring, and the local hour. Now, the watch is Powered by a Rolex manufactured caliber 9001 movement, automatic winding, rotor bearing instead of a jeweled staff for greater shock tolerance, 70-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 40 joules, COSC certified Swiss chronometer. Rolex then takes the certified movement, cases it up, tests it as a fully built watch in 6 positions, so it runs no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day. That is the superlative chronometer standard. It has a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for shock tolerance and precise adjustment, a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring, so it keeps excellent time in any physical position with respect to gravity, and then that hairspring is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy, so watch is shock resistant, water resistant, and anti-magnetic. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.